Hi, I will be making a heart pendant with polymer clay, and I will be using Primo Sculpey, and I'm using the black version. Uh, Something else I'm going to use will be this acrylic roller, a cutter, and some, polymer clay tools. I'm not sure which ones I'll use yet, but probably texture ones, and then the ones to smooth out the edges. This is a color shaper. It has a rubber tip, and I will also be using this rhinestone chain. And I bought this from eBay, but you could also find it probably locally. I bought a big roll, but I'm only gonna be using a little bit of it. So the first thing to do is to grab, I think I'm only gonna use this, but just for good measure, I'm gonna grab another piece, and I'm going to condition it with a roller. Ideally, I like to work on a ceramic tile surface. However, I don't have mine with me right now, so this will do. And I'm just going to flatten it and fold it into itself. If you have a pasta machine, of course, use that. And this clay, it tends to be soft as it is, but I was warming it up earlier, and by that I mean I was carrying it in my pocket, so now it's at room temperature, sort of, or a bit warmer. Okay, looks like it's ready. This brand, it doesn't take long to condition. It's meant to be used for sculpting usually. I mean, you can use it for anything. But see, the way I notice condition is because when I fold it, it doesn't have any cracks. Like, I fold it and it doesn't crack in the middle, in the point where it will receive the most strength. There are some polymer clays that are really stiff, and they don't have a lot of plasticizers in them, so they take longer to condition. And now what I'm making is I'm just getting a flat surface. The good thing that when you condition on top of a ceramic tile is that in this case the paper could be absorbing some of the plasticizers on the clay, so you don't want to do it on top of paper if you're going to condition for a long time. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to shape this into a heart, and this is what the pendant is going to look like, but it's going to be encased with the polymer clay. So I need to shape the polymer clay into a heart, and I'm not sure if I should just roll it like into the shape. Maybe I'll do that, or if I should cut it, but I think I'm just gonna roll it. This might be too thick, so I'm just gonna work with half of it, and I'm pretty much just trying to apply even pressure to have a somewhat even snake or log. And how long I want it depends how big I want the heart to be, which I'm almost there, I believe. This is about the thickness of a pencil, and if you have a template of a heart or a shape, you could use that, but I think I'm just gonna freehand it, just wing it. And I'm gonna pinch the end. One end seems bigger than the other, so I'm gonna pinch further. Alright, so this might be a bit too big, but we'll see. So now I'm just gently flattening it with the acrylic roll. And now I'm going to try my hand. Let me see what the back looks like. The back looks more smooth. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to see this end where I cut it. I'm going to bend this down so that it goes into the clay. And it's very thin, so I'm pretty sure I can do it with my nails. But if not, I also have needle nose plier that I might need to use. Okay, it looks like I bent it in, now it won't come out. Okay, so I'll just go with this. And I don't want it to be fully stretched, but I don't want it to be fully shrunk either. So I'm going to make sure that in between the rhinestones there's only like a small distance, and that I'm pressing it into it. And it's just sinking into the polymer clay. I think over here is to stretch out, so I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to reapply it, making sure it's not so shrunken. Now these parts are going to be folded in, so it really doesn't matter that I'm going to have different types of marks on the clay, because you shouldn't be able to see those when I'm done. Alright, so now I've come to the part where I need to bend it, and as you see I'm not having too much of a bend, so I'm gonna have to cut this, and I'm gonna go get my cutters. Okay, so I'm using wire cutters, and I'm going to just cut the metal piece here. There we go. And now I will press this one in, and now I'm going to start just a small distance, and I'll start pressing the rest of them. Like that. So I'm almost covering the entire heart. And I'm trying, as always, just to leave not fully stretch out, not fully compress either. Okay, it looks like over here I need to cut it at this point. And these two are going to be closer together than the rest, but that's fine. Now I'm just pressing with my palm to make sure it's deep into the polymer clay. And I'm going to gently go with the blade to make sure it's not sticking to the manila folder. Alright, so this is what we have. Now what I need to do is fold it so that it becomes like a wall around it. So I'm carefully just pinching with my fingers, and I'm sort of just folding this inward. And I'm gonna go around it. So it's creating sort of like a canal around the rhinestones. And this might be a little big, however, I will be giving this to a person that I think for her this size will be ideal. And if not, I can just make a couple sizes and have her pick. But I do think this is gonna work. Now this is the point where the polymer clay became where I united those ends. So I'm going to smooth it out. I smooth it out with a rubber tip before folding it over. So it looks more finished. And next, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cover this with a metal powder. And this is actual metal powder. It's not mica. And I have two silver colors. Actually, one is a platinum and the other one is silver. So I'm gonna test it out to see which one looks better. Now I'm going to continue smoothing that out, but in the meantime, with the other polymer clay that was already conditioned, I'm going to cut pieces, small pieces, and put it in between. And this is what's going to keep it in, you know, make sure it doesn't come off. And that's what I needed to have some small room in between the rhinestones. So I'm just putting it in and then I'm pressing it. And I'm gonna continue to do that all throughout the heart. Okay, so I'm almost done putting the extra pieces of polymer clay in between. I just need to add some tiny little ones in the very last links. And I don't think I have room to put anything in between these two, so I'm only gonna put it on the edge. And now I'm thinking about what kind of texture I want to add to the edges of the heart. But this is pretty much what I've been doing, just pressing it, just making sure that this new polymer clay is touching the frame, the heart frame, so that it will just be one once it goes into the oven. And I already started warming up the oven. It's a convection oven that I'm using, and the one that I have is I only use it for polymer clay. Now you could also bake this in your regular oven, but you will have to probably put it inside a tray, like an aluminum tray, and cover it and secure it on the edges with binders, or somehow create a house out of aluminum. The risk is this, that polymer clay, when it heats up to certain temperatures, it can release fumes. So you don't want to have these fumes in your oven when you cook the food, because there will be a release also, like a film on the walls of your oven. So you're either gonna have to clean your oven top to bottom really well after you use it for polymer clay, or you can protect the polymer clay pieces and close them somehow so that they're trapped in it and it doesn't go, any residue doesn't go into the walls of your oven. So now I'm just doing final touches as far as the smoothing goes. Now this clay, it needs the oven to be at 275, and it's gonna take 30 minutes per every 1/4 inch thickness. I like to leave my pieces longer, so I'm probably gonna leave it there a little bit over an hour. It doesn't hurt if you bake it longer, as long as you don't go above 275 in your oven temperature. Okay, so I have not decided what texture I'm gonna give it yet. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to hold a piece of polymer clay, a small one, where I can test out my textures, maybe bigger. So I have this roller, which is somewhat dirty. Oh, and this creates tracks, or like little squares. I don't think I like it for this project. I also have this. This creates little lines. This might not be bad. Then I also have this one, which is like a herringbone pattern. Alright, so these are the textures that I could make. And because I have a very thin edge, I'm just gonna go with the one made by this one, which is this first one right here. So I'm pretty much, first, I'm going to smooth out any irregularities on the surface. And then once that's done, I'm just gonna come around with this and just press it along the edge. Like that. And there's no rush, so I'm taking my time to be careful and to make sure it's somewhat even. So on this edge, it looks like I need to press it more against the rhinestone. And then go around like this. And like I said, I'm already warming up the oven so that this can go in. After I've made a piece, I like to either bake it right away, or if I cannot bake it, then I wrap it around deli plastic sheets so that they don't dry out and the clay stays pliable, so it bakes better. Okay, this one is not being very even, so I'm going to smooth it out and do it again on this one edge. Alright, so it's looking better now. And what's next is that I'm going to go get the metal powder and apply it. And I'm just using my fingers to apply it. So this is what I will be using. It's Mona Lisa metal powder. And this is the silver. And then this is the platinum. They have slightly different colors. This is, of course, the silver is silver. This has more of chrome tone to it. And when you're using this, you need to be using a mask, or you see, be very careful not to breathe any dust, because this is actual metal. It is not something you want to be breathing in. And that's one of the reasons why I rather apply it with my fingers, because versus a brush tends to lift up a lot more dust. Now this is what the platinum looks like. and then I'm going to do the silver so that I can better decide which one I want to use for this heart. Let's see. So I don't know if you can tell or not from this, but this is the silver, that's the platinum. I'm not really sure which one to use. I think I'm gonna go with the silver, and it adheres very well to uncure polymer clay. Now another reason why I want to use my fingers is because since I did some texture on the heart, I want that texture to remain black because it's indentations, and it will look like this right here. If when you use a brush, everything gets filled in, so there is no, you cannot tell the texture apart. However, after this bakes, I will need to seal it with something, either spray from the same brand, or maybe liquid one. So I'm going to go slowly and add it. And I'm also going to add it to the back once I'm done with the front. So alright, so I'm almost done. The only part that I need to color, and for this my finger is too thick, so I'm using the color shaper to put it in between the stones, just slightly. And after this, I'm gonna put it on a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to bake it for about an hour. And I will be monitoring the temperature of the oven in the meantime to make sure it doesn't go higher than it's supposed to. Convection ovens, they're kind of flimsy in that way. It's really, they're so small. Opening the door makes the temperature plummet, and sometimes without you adjusting it, it goes high. So you need to keep an eye on them if you're using a convection oven. And if it goes too hot, you will know it. You'll see smoke coming out of it. Not smoke, but you will smell it, the fume, when it gets too hot. But this is pretty much it as far as the shaping of the heart goes. One more thing that I need to do before I bake it, and you could do it after, but you will need a hand drill if you chose to do it after, is to do the holes where the necklace is going to be hung from. Not the necklace itself, but the wires that I'm going to shape for the necklace. So they're gonna be somewhere in around here, possibly, so the wires, the chain will go that way. And to do that, you will need something pointy, or even if you have a pin, that will do too. I'll probably use this, but I'll show you when I'm ready to do that. Alright, so I've decided I'm gonna do the holes on this corner, and I don't want to do it all the way on the edge because I don't want to risk having a weak link. So there's the first one, and the second one will come here. So I'm pressing it and pushing it in, and then I go like this to make the hole a little bit bigger. And now if I turn it on the back, you can see that the points where this came out are not smooth. So I'm going from this end to and doing the same thing, like going around it to make sure it's smooth and it doesn't look like something just broke into it. And I did add some texture before on the back with this stamp. You can just lightly see it. I also like to sign my name on the back. I don't have my stamp with me, but this is a gift and they'll know I'll be giving it to them, so it's no big deal. Alright, now off to the oven it goes. Oh wait, before I put it on the oven, I did get by accident some of the silver powder onto the actual rhinestones. So I'm gonna wipe it off lightly because it will adhere to the glass and it won't come off after it bakes. So I'm just gonna go over it lightly to remove any extra dust from the actual rhinestones. Here's the heart. It's out of the oven now and it's been cooled down. I actually don't get them out of the oven until it's cold. Like I let them cool down inside the oven and come to room temperature. And now I'm going to cover them. I have a few options. This is from Christy Friesen Swell Again Clear Sealant. And I also have the Mona Lisa Sealer, which is the same brand as the metal powder that I used on them. And then I also have this glossy glaze, and this one can be applied to either raw or baked clay. In the past I have used this one and I've had some issues with the piece becoming a little bit sticky and then it draws a lot of dust or lint. So today I'm going to try this one instead and I'll let you know how it works. It says that you shouldn't shake it on the bottle, just stir it, I'm guessing, so that you don't get any bubbles in it. And I'm gonna be using synthetic fiber brush. It's very soft, and it does say to let it dry like 30 minutes between layers. So I'm going to use a magazine, that way I don't get my desk sticky or dirty. And then I'm going to, at first I'm just going to do it on the back, and when it dries then I'll flip it over and do it on the back. Sometimes when you apply a glaze, it affects the color of what's underneath. Now this has a white consistency, but it should come out clear once it dries. But this is pretty much the very last step. And then what's left to do is just to attach it to a chain to make it a necklace. But that's it for now. I hope you liked it and thank you for watching.